Hello, today's technology tidbit is walking you through setting up categories in your eEdge database system. Now, what are categories, you might ask? Well, categories are a specific group of people that exist in an even larger group of people that are already established in your database. For instance, you've set up A and W, meaning all of the folks that have the letter A or the letter W as the first letter of their last name all fall into the A and W group. And inside of that A and W group, you most likely have different relationships with all of those people, and those relationships are not equal. In Never Ending Referrals and Move, we set categories within our database that involve these 5 groups, and those are our core advocates, our allied resources, our network, and our nurtures. So the idea is this: when you're inside your eEdge system, and it would look something like this, I'd really like to narrow down to who are my core advocates, who are my cheerleaders. I've got an event happening this weekend, and I'd really like to make some phone calls to all those people that are just so consistently supporting me. I can come into my filters, and in my filters search, I can come down here to category, search by my core advocates. Click search. And now all of my core advocates have actually been pulled out of the system. Let's take this one step further. Let's say that I am actually in the group A and W. There are 2 contacts in this group currently. I'd like to filter within that group who are the core advocates in my A and W group. Click on filters. Keep in mind A and W is still checked. Come over to the category, and I would type in core for my core advocate and search. Well, now the system is actually filtered through all of the data and is now taken out of that entire A and W group who are my core advocates. So simply put, categories give us the ability to filter through information and just use our database a little more wisely, and also saves us time. So let's go through this and how do you set up categories in your database system. We're going to be starting from your main dashboard, which is your mykw.kw.com. We will be entering into eEdge through the eEdge control panel, and that's the rectangle that is to the right of your profile photo. Categories involve our contacts. We'll click on View Contacts because that's the shortcut into the Contacts section of eEdge. Now, because I had actually done a search when I was demonstrating to you what we would be doing today, the system remembered my last search, so I got to clear those filters. Now all of the contacts in my database system are on this page. Let's say that I would like to assign Sally to a specific category. To do that, I would click on Sally's name, click Edit, so that I have the ability to edit the fields that contain the information about Sally. I would simply put the cursor in the category box and type in the category named Core. When naming our categories, we've got to be careful what we name them. If we name one category that contains the word advocate the same as another category that contains the word advocate, later on when we go to filter that information, the system will pull everything that contains the word advocate. So since 2 of our categories contain the word advocate, we're going to drop the word advocate from our core advocates and simply name them core and save. Once I've done that, you'll see that Sally is now in the category Core Advocate. So if I were to go back to all of my contacts, I simply could come back now to the filters, come down to category, search by my core advocates, search, and now all of the core advocates that are in my database are on the screen in front of me. That's how you add one individual person to a category. Let's walk through how do you add multiple people into a category. Pull up all of your contacts. Again, make sure that you're in all contacts. Go down through this list and check mark the appropriate people. Come to the top, click on Bulk Update. The additional pop-up will appear, and it's going to ask you, what would you like to do with these 3 records? You can either edit the records or you can discard them, meaning put them into the trash in the CRM and get rid of them from the database completely. In this case, we're going to edit the records, so you'll click Continue. Now in this pop-up box, you'll notice that you have several different options when it comes to editing those specific contacts. You can add them to groups, you can add them to categories, you can add them to a specific company, change their status, or add a note to all of them at one time. Today, we're talking about adding them into categories, so you'll click on Add to a Category. You're changing them all to one category, and in this case, we're going to add them to our core advocates, which are core. And you'll click Update Now. So now when I come back out to my filters, choose to search for core advocates. All of my core advocates now show up on the screen. You can add categories to contacts two different ways. Either through an individual contact and editing that contact, typing in the name of the category, or you can do a bulk update by pulling up all of your contacts, check marking the appropriate contacts, and then adding them to a specific category. Now, what we've been talking about so far is what we call checkers, meaning we're looking to make it as simple as possible. What I'd like to do today is share something with you that we consider to be a chess move. If I go back and I clear my filters and all of my contacts are now on my page, let's say that Sally, for instance, I'm going to pull up Sally. Here's all of the information that I currently have on Sally. I'm going to show you something that is truly a chess move, a way to filter this information so that it really works for you now and into the future. Click on Edit so that you get all of these fields. And notice up on the upper right of Sally's information, under Type, I can label Sally as a buyer, a buyer, seller, both, a lead, a renter, an investor, a past client, an agent, a vendor, personal contact, or something else. So let's do this. Let's name Sally a buyer. Next, you have the box that is labeled Subtype. In this subtype, I'm going to say that Sally actually closed on a home with me. She was a buyer in 2018. So you'd simply write 2018. And then we'll click Save. So if we go back to all of our contacts, let's walk through why what we just did is so incredibly important. Well, let's say that Sally bought a home from me in 2018. It's now 5 years later, January 2023, and I pull up my contacts in my database, and I now can come to my filters, filter down the information that I'm looking for, and that is I'd like to know who are all the folks that bought a home from me in 2018, and I would simply search my database. Sally and Marlo, in this particular case, bought a home in 2018. This is simply creating a database that works for you not only now, into the future, so that the data that is in it becomes something that you can now go back into, and you literally can data mine your database based on human behaviors. That is our chess move. So let's recap what we've done today. We've walked through how to set up a specific category in a contact as an individual, and that was simply to click on the contact, open up the contact, click Edit, type in the name of the category, and click Save. And then we also walked through a mass update and add multiple people into categories, and that was to go to all of your contacts, check mark the appropriate contacts, click Bulk Update, walk through what that bulk update is. You're going to put them into a specific category, and then you would click Update Now. What you've done is you've given yourself the ability to come back through your database later and further narrow down the contacts based on the relationship that you currently have with them. I trust that you found this to be useful today, and I am wishing you a fantastic and prosperous day.